Well, hello, you wonderful pet parents. There is a Kim here on my microphone. How are y'all doing this wonderful Sunday? I do see some people joining us, so thank you so much for being here. Today we're talking about dogs like chewing on everything. This happens really frequently with puppies, of course, but if you adopt I can't talk. If you adopt an adult dog, they can sometimes do this too for a number of different reasons. One, they may not have been properly trained when they were younger how to um, redirect what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, right? Biting and chewing behavior, but also, it's stressful being adopted, coming into a new home, brand new situation that you know nothing about. So let me go back to my hello, wonderful people. Jennifer, I see you're here. Thank you so much for being here. If you are watching live, go ahead and post in the chat. If you're watching a recording of this, you can post a comment as well. I will come back and Kim is in front of me, and there's like a fly that is flying low because it's getting close to the end of its life. When they normally do that, they start flying really low, and it's like she keeps like nipping at it. So I'm like, she's making me laugh, and I apologize. Anyway, so I'm going to hopefully keep today's video under 20 minutes. That's my goal today. But if you are here and you have questions, go ahead and ask away, and I will stay as long as I need to. So I do see a few more people joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and like I was just saying, post your comments, post your questions. Just let me know you're here. Let me know about you and your dog. Do you have issues with your dog chewing things up in your house? Or maybe you have friends or family that are having this issue, or you're preparing for a new puppy, whatever it may be, go ahead and post in the chat section. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And first and foremost, we need to understand that chewing is natural for dogs. Like, they experience the world with their mouths, like little babies do, right? Once we're older, we experience the world with our hands and our eyes, and our dogs have eyes as well. But to see what's going on, to feel things, they use their mouths. So it's very, very natural for them, and that's how they learn the world around them. So teaching a dog or a puppy what is okay and what is not okay is our responsibility. So again, I was just saying that this can be happening in adult dogs as well. Kim is chasing this fly. This can happen in adult dogs as well. Oftentimes because they weren't properly taught when they were puppies what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, but sometimes just because of stressors, right, going on in their lives. Maybe they were just adopted. They had a family that gave them up or moved away, or whatever it may have been. They've been living in a shelter environment. Maybe they've even been living in a foster home. We don't know. A lot could be going on, and these stressors can cause our dogs to revert to prior behaviors. So a lot of things could be going on, and it is important to figure out the why behind your dog's chewing. It doesn't matter what the issue you're having with your dog is. I always say we need to figure out the why. 100%, no matter what, we need to figure out the why. So with chewing, it's no different. And for puppies, it's also something we need to understand that teething is a very, very normal part of growing. So instead of just trying to stop chewing behavior altogether, when your dog is teething, we actually really need to be providing them with appropriate chew toys that are going to help them through that teething process. So, teething, just like for babies, can be just, uncomfortable. And it's natural for them to chew, especially during this time. We don't want to get them to stop during teething. We want to redirect them, want to provide them appropriate chew toys. So let me take a little sip of water. And I have something to show you at the end of today's video, so make sure you stick around. Here are some tips for working with dogs who are biting and chewing on things that they should not be. The number one thing is to be attentive. And in this tip, we're talking about managing the environment. A lot. And I know we have talked about this, and especially if you are part of the Patreon family. I think I did a whole post dedicated to it that was exclusive content just for Patreon. So if you aren't part of the Patreon family, make sure you check the link below. You can join for as little as $1 a month, help support all the content that I bring to you guys. So, one of the most important parts about dog training is managing the environment for your dog. And that means being intentional about the places your dog has access to, the things your dog has access to, and paying attention to your dog at all times. And yes, that sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but it's only for a short period of time, meaning, just like with anything else, you put in the effort up front and you get a huge payoff in the end. And once our dogs and we have settled into a good routine, they have a good understanding of, what is and what is not off limits, you can then begin to relax more. So, paying attention to a new dog or puppy is the number one rule, period, full stop, end of statement. It's like caring for a newborn, but with paws and sharp teeth. This time is for you two to get to know one another, set house rules, and create your routine. You may also need to provide a safe, confined space for your dog when you don't have complete attention on him. Maybe you're cooking dinner, for instance, or if you need to leave the house for a short period of time. This is where crate training can come in handy. And again, I was just telling you, I have a Patreon exclusive post about managing the environment that you can, again, get if you join the Patreon family. It is if you're on YouTube, or Rumble, it's the first link in the description. If you are on Facebook, you can go to patreon.com/Jessica Fisher, and there is no C in Fisher. The second tip is to leave your scent. So your scent can actually be calming to your dog. So you can provide toys or towels or blankets, anything like that, where you have actually, put your scent on them, maybe with your hand or something like that. And that can help your dog be a little bit calmer. Again, I did a Patreon post about helping a calm dog or a hyper dog calm down. And whether you feel like your dog is hyper or not, right? These tips are helpful. So definitely, again, I hate to keep saying this, but it's just the truth. There is so much great content over there that you get full access to everything that has been posted in the past when you join, again, for as little as $1 a month. Like, I cannot imagine a better deal. So I hope to see you over there. This next tip is put away anything that your dog can chew on that you don't want them to chew on. And again, this falls under managing your dog's environment, which was the first tip we talked about, but it deserves its own step just to make sure it's obvious to everyone. If there's something that you don't want your dog to chew on, it is your responsibility to keep it out of reach for your dog. Period, full stop, end of statement, right? The fourth tip is to choose your dog toys wisely. And I know this may sound like, seriously, Jessica, but hear me out. So no, choosing toys shouldn't be complicated, but it is important to think about the dog in front of us, right? When we're choosing toys for them. So if they like to chew on shoes or socks, then we, first of all, never want to give them old shoes and socks to chew on, because your dog is not going to know the difference in an old one and a new one. It's a sock or it's a shoe. And if you give them old socks and shoes to chew on, there is no differentiator in their mind between the old ones and the new ones. Shoes are shoes, socks are socks. So don't give them old shoes and socks, but also that's reinforcing, right? And in encouraging the behavior that you're trying to get them to stop doing. But also, we don't want to choose toys that resemble shoes or socks. If your dog is a very strong chewer, let me tell you, there are some strong chewers out there. You may definitely want to invest in toys that are made for strong chewers, because toys that are not made for strong chewers can very easily be torn up. They can shred. There are like cheap rubber toys that, may be okay for a smaller dog, but a big dog who likes to chew, they're just going to shred into pieces, and then they're going to swallow those pieces, probably by accident. And I mean, they could get obstructions, right? Like that's not good. Like we really want to be aware of what is going to be best for the dog in front of us. And if your dog likes to get, pull the squeaker out of stuffed toys, that is, that happens for sure. Kim has actually only done that once, um, not long after we adopted her, and she is actually really, really good with playing with her squeaky toys now. But they actually make unstuffed toys, so they don't have stuffing in them. And the reason that is important is because when they are pulling those toys apart to get to the squeaker, they could accidentally ingest some of that stuffing. And let me tell you, some of that stuffing is not good. And we never want any of it to wind up in our dog system because, again, there can be blockages. It's not a natural, it's not organic. So your dog is not going to be able to break it down. But yeah, anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. We could do like a whole topic on a whole stream or post for sure on Patreon. I might actually do that about choosing toys for your dog because like there is a lot to that. But I don't want to get too far into the rabbit hole here, right, with you guys. I really appreciate y'all being here. And again, I do see that we have some viewers here with us, and I would love to have you say hello. Let me know why you're watching the video. Let me know about you and your dog. I do have a couple more tips to talk to y'all about. We're 11 minutes in. I said I want to keep this under 20, again, if at all possible. But if you're here and you have questions, whether it's on today's topic or not, go ahead and ask them. I will stick around longer if we have questions that need to be answered. Okay, the fifth tip, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm calling them, right? Fifth tip for today, interrupt, then redirect. So here's the training part, right? Everything else is about management. This is training. So if your dog is chewing something that you don't want them to be chewing on, interrupt them and redirect I can't talk today, guys. Redirect them to a toy that is appropriate for them to chew on. And now this sounds really easy, but in practice, in real life, this can be a little more difficult. I get that. That's why it's so important to start early and often, right, with training. So if you haven't practiced maybe a drop it or a leave it or even a trade with your dog, any of these would be good in this situation. And for you, and I'm going to get off on a tangent here, guys. If you have not listened to my podcast from the beginning, or if you haven't read my book, I started out my podcast, the first 2 episodes of the podcast. If you're not following the podcast, please go to whatever podcasting network you prefer. I tend to listen on Spotify. I used to listen on Apple Podcasts, and a lot of the podcasts that I really, really enjoyed moved exclusively to Spotify. So that's why I listen to a lot on Spotify. But go back to the very first episodes. Go back and read my book if you have my book. I go over what I call the 7 canine commandments, and consistency is one of the 7 canine commandments. These are the foundations of training that I put in place in every home I go to before we work on anything else. And consistency is one of them. So whether you choose, drop it for your cue or leave it for your cue or trade. And also, by the way, all 3 of these can be taught. You can actually expect slightly different behaviors and use these 3 things in different settings, different circumstances. All of these things can be taught for sure. But if you only choose one, choose it and be consistent with it. But anyway, training with your dog, positive reinforcement training, whatever you choose, drop it, leave it, trade, all of the above. Start early and practice often. And if you're not sure how to do that, I have a free beginner dog training series that you can sign up for. Let me see here, let me put it on the screen for you guys. I, of course, put the link in the Patreon post. Jennifer says we keep toys up. Yes, that's a good thing. And you know what? it's a good idea for most dogs. I keep toys down for Kim. She's pretty chill. But for a lot of dogs, especially big dogs, I do recommend keeping toys up. And I've worked with some dogs that are very aggressive. They are very protective of their toys. Food aggressive dogs can often, if they're not worked with positive reinforcement, that behavior can extend to other things, like toys in the house. So yeah, it's a good idea. Let me put the link really quickly. One second, guys. I'm gonna put the link on the screen for signing up for the beginner dog training series. It's completely free. So you just go to trainpositivedogs.com/BDTS for beginner dog training series, and you can sign up right there. Just enter your name and email. And the reason that I'm asking for your email is because it's actually an online login system. So once you sign up for it, you will get an email saying, hey, thanks. This is your login with your email, and this is your password to log in. So definitely go there and check that out. It's completely free to you. And there's like 18 or 19 videos. I want to say it's 19 videos. I go through a lot. So I definitely recommend that. The sixth tip for dogs that are chewing on things you don't want them to be chewing on, and this actually applies to every single dog, period. Like literally every single dog: exercise daily. And I preach this a lot, and that's because it is one of the most often overlooked things with our dog. Like, it doesn't matter what we're talking about, exercise is important, and that exercise is both mental and physical. So every single day they need mental and physical exercise. So, and every dog is different, so I can't tell you exactly what to do with your dog specifically, but work with your dog and figure it out, because they need, you let them use their brain, go for walks, let them sniff, do some training every single day. A little of these, just do a little bit, a few times throughout the day. It's gonna help. It is going to help. So follow these steps, and you and your dog will be much, much happier and better behaved, of course. For both adult dogs and puppies, if you're working to help your dog break a chewing habit not related to teething, and you aren't finding the results you're looking for, you should absolutely 100% make an appointment with your veterinarian. Once you have ruled out any medical reasons that you could be stumbling and not getting the results you're looking for, working with a positive reinforcement trainer is absolutely recommended. So, let me put one more up. I don't know if this program will let me put two banners up, but let me try. Because I told you I have something to show you at the end of this video, and I do. So, nope, one at a time. All right, guys. Here is what I have to show you, because I know I have been working on, I haven't, how do I want to say this? On the podcast, I have been talking about the new designs that I released in the merch store, and there are some great designs. My latest design I have on today, I want to show you. Give me 1 second to stand up, and I'm going to show you because I absolutely love this. Okay. I absolutely love this one. It actually might be my favorite design out of all of the designs I have in the store. So check it out. You can go to thepetparentingreset.com and click on the merch tab. Thepetparentingreset.com is like the main page for the podcast. So you can get to all of the past podcasts. If you don't if you don't currently listen to podcasts on a podcast network and you're just not interested in doing that, you can listen to the episodes on the website. So you can definitely go to thepetparentingreset.com and start listening to the episodes there. This past week, we talked about, I recorded this one. I record them a little early. So I think I know what we talked about, but let me just double check. I think we talked about dog poop. Let me let me just, yes, that's what we talked about. We talked about, does your dog eat poop? Y'all, I talked about something on this podcast I haven't heard anybody else talk about, and I have been thinking about it for literally months and telling myself I need to do a podcast on this. I need to do, and I didn't know a way to work it into it. Like it finally hit me of a way that I could work it into a broader topic of a podcast. And so I recorded it for Does Your Dog Eat Poop? And there is one thing I talk about a little bit further into the episode, especially if you have a dog if you have a dog that eats cat poop. Like dogs will eat their own poop, they'll eat other dogs' poop, they'll eat other animals' poop, they will eat cat poop. It is a thing. So we got to talk about it. And I go over all of it in this episode. So make sure if you're not following the podcast, go follow it now. And when I find a new podcast, I like to go all the way back to the first episode and listen to them in chronological order. I don't know, that's just my personality maybe. So you don't have to do that, but that's how I do it. And I have exceeded my 20 minutes, guys. So I apologize about that, but I appreciate you so much. Let me put, so the Pet Parenting Reset, you can also get, if you go to the petparentingreset.com, you can also get to Patreon from there, because in the navigation menu, there's a Patreon link and there's a merch link. And what I would recommend, if you want this design or any of the other designs, any of the designs you want in the merch store, join Patreon first, because for as little as $1 a month, which I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone that watches my videos, but my Patreon family so much. It helps me support. It is expensive to run a website, just to have a podcast. It's expensive. There is a lot of money that I put into this, and I don't make any money off of any of this. I'm seriously, any of this content that I put out to you guys, I am paying to put this content out to you. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Even for just $1 a month, you get so much great information over on Patreon, and you get an exclusive discount code to the merch store. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. Thank you so much for being the wonderful pet parents you are. I hope you get to spend a little bit of extra time today with your pets. Give them some extra love from me, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.